Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR Today. It's Wednesday morning. It is July 29th. It's been a great week so far. Obviously, David told us a moratorium on the food talk. But you know what? We're going to talk Matthew Thomas in just a second. We're going to talk his White Castle lovings, if you will. We're getting White Castle on the board. But I kid. I joke. Folks, make sure that, wherever you're listening to us, do that like, do that subscribe, do us a favor. The numbers go up. I keep saying it. It's not just a line I made up. I'm telling you, I look at these stats on a daily basis, just like ratings for NXT versus AEW for Wednesday nights. I look, and I want to make sure that our numbers are continually going up. So speaking of making the numbers go up, let's talk to Matthew Thomas. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning. I don't get what all the fuss is about these crinkle cut fries. I'm not a huge fan.
Well, then maybe White Castle's not for you, sir.
It's right. I like their burgers. I don't know. In my fries, I don't like my fries as potato-y as I like them fried.
Have you ever tried your Wendy's fries in your Frosty?
That sounds utterly disgusting.
It's not. It is a match made in heaven that you don't know about yet.
I've done some Wendy's fries in the Wendy's honey mustard sauce, which I think is absolutely incredible, and they complement each other very nicely. But a Frosty and a fry, they're two completely different beasts.
I'll tell you, not to take away, because, if Burger King came knocking on the door and said they wanted to sponsor the segment, I'd let them sponsor them. But I'll tell you what, I just had 8 of their nugs for $1. It was nothing more than a batter disc. There was no chicken in it. Literally, I just ate burnt batter is what I had.
I mean, for $1 though, you probably had worse.
I don't know, man. But be that as may. Matthew, good morning. We get everybody nice and hungry, get their palates salivating, in the morning, listen to PWR Today, but they really tune in and listen to a little wrestling. We talked to Dave yesterday morning, and we talked about the end, obviously, of Hardy and Sheamus. Very quick thoughts on the conclusion to Hardy Sheamus.
I'm glad it's over.
Well, we all are all glad it's over. I mean, what did you think about Peter Criss from Kiss showing up with the Kiss makeup?
I don't know what that was all about. I really don't. I don't know how to interpret that. I'm still not sure if the Fiend killed Braun. Like, I don't know what's going on anymore. I don't know how to interpret anything.
Well, I get all choked up just talking about it. But speaking of talking about it, let's talk about tonight. Big night in wrestling action. It's obviously Wednesday night. We've got AEW and we've got NXT going head-to-head as per the usual. AEW looked real strong last week, and they actually beat NXT in the ratings. I don't care so much about the ratings, but, a lot of people talk about them. Let's talk about what AEW's got lined up tonight. I'm just looking at some of the matches. There might be more that aren't announced yet. Cody obviously is going to defend his TNT championship against an unnamed opponent. Jon Moxley and Darby Allin are going to take on Brian Cage and Ricky Starks. What do you think about that? I mean, that's a big one right there.
Yeah. No, that's. I mean, you're probably going to go a little bit more towards the to the Cage and Darby Allin feud, but I mean, seeing Moxley in action anytime on AEW is big news. So I'm curious to see how this one pans out.
Do they move this over to Darby Allin going against Ricky Starks and put Brian Cage back to Jon Moxley? Do you think this is kind of the rub to work its way there?
It's possible. I mean, here's the thing with Cage and Moxley. There's unfinished business there. Cage got the Bob Backlund treatment. So he does have a bone to pick. He never gave up. I would be more interested in that. It's more believable to me. And I mean, it gives, I think there's a lot of potential there with Cage. And honestly, I was not happy with the way Cage came out looking, in that match. I thought this guy you've pushed really, really strong. It's just kind of I think there's definitely something there. I would prefer that scenario because I feel like keeping him in that title picture, it keeps his star high and on the rise. As much as I've enjoyed Darby Allin, I feel like sticking him in a Darby Allin feud is I don't think that does Cage any favors. It's not, it's not believable, like we've discussed here. And I feel like the impression that you get, I mean, you're taking Cage down to the mid card, and AEW, you've got those rankings you can look at, and Darby Allin, as entertaining as his matches have been, he's not somebody they have protected with a win-loss record. I don't have it in front of me, but if you pulled it up, I guarantee you he'd be around 500 at best. And taking Cage, somebody that they did a really good job of making look strong, since he came in, taking him down to that mid-card feud, I don't feel like it does him any favors. So I'd not thought about that situation, but I think that's probably the best situation for Cage.
We've got a big women's match as well. Hikaru Shida, and I always get her first name wrong, but it's Shida taking on Diamante. And I believe this is a title match for the AEW Women's Championship. Your thoughts on the champion, and does she have a chance against Diamante?
I think she's going to retain here. Here's the thing. It's as great as AEW has been, I feel like the women's division still needs some work, and I look forward to watching it each week to see the strides that they make. So that is, as strong as the product has been, I feel like the women's division has been lacking a bit, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what they do week to week here.
It's kind of funny that you say that, because a strong company who's been out, on TNT since September, I believe October. I mean, I might be wrong on my dates, but they've been around for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
That is their Achilles heel right now, is a women's division. When women's wrestling, across the board from Impact Wrestling to, the NXT brand, Raw, SmackDown, women's wrestling is really at the forefront, and AEW, that's their Achilles right now. Do you think those other companies just gobbled them up, or they just, haven't featured it as much because they have so much other talent to feature?
I don't know. And as popular as women's wrestling is now, it's main eventing pay-per-views on the WWE, and a main event at WrestleMania a little over a year ago. I don't see why that's been the case with AEW, and I've not heard a solution that has made sense. And I mean, as the company, and here's the thing with AEW, we, based on their performance, based on the package they present week to week, I think a lot of times we forget how young of a company it is.
Yeah.
I mean, they are, as far as my opinion goes now, they are heads and tails the best thing going in the wrestling industry, according to me. That's one person's opinion. But they are in their infancy, and I think we need to remember that. And I think it blows our mind sometimes when they are not top of the list on anything. So give it some time. And I mean, I think they have done a fantastic job of addressing, weak spots thus far. So I think they'll be there in no time.
MJF is going to have a state of the industry address, so maybe he'll let us know what's happening in the industry.
Maybe he will. I mean, I have no doubt that he's got the answers there.
He's probably got all the answers as long as you kiss his ring. He's better than you, and you know it. There's also a tag team match for the tag team championships. My team, the champs, Omega and Page, taking on the Dark Order of Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. Big matches again happening tonight on AEW.
Yeah, and the cool thing with Page and Omega, they've let this whole dissension between those two just kind of hang out there for so long, and it's not to the point now that it had been, but you really don't know from title defense to title defense if the whole thing's going to implode or not. And that's one thing that they have done, I think, a great job of in this whole arc is you don't know when it's really going to come crashing down. And you're seeing it now.
I mean, the walls when they come stumbling down?
That's the other segment. I think he's on a little bit later, right?
No, the walls when they come tumbling. Sorry, Matthew. How old are you again?
Oh, that's a John Mellencamp reference.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
Yeah, it took me. John Mellencamp reference off of the album, which I believe was 1982, 1983. Also gave us the hit song "Pink Houses."
Yes, when he became John Cougar.
Among the Authority song was on that album as well.
Little Pink Houses for you, me. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So. What were we talking about before we were talking about John Mellencamp?
You're waiting for the walls to come crumbling down on Kenny Omega and Hangman Page.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Bringing it all back together.
Little sidetrack though. My best, my favorite run-in by a recording artist. I don't know if you remember this or not, but this would have been during the guest host era. I think probably 2010 or so. Randy Orton opened up a Raw, cutting a promo, gets interrupted by Meatloaf. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I'm trying to forget it, to be honest, but yes, I do. Would you go any further? Would you love me?
Yeah,
Would
no,
you love me forever? Would you leave
that's
me?
exactly what it was. So Orton's out there, and then you hear this entrance music, and at least with me, it's like, I know that. Who is that? And I'm going through my brain as far as whose intro music is that. I'm like, that's Paradise by the Dashboard Light, and here comes Meatloaf. That was a little bit of magic right there during the guest host era.
So you were so happy that it brought this match back full circle to what we were talking about. Let's talk Inner Circle. And let's talk Inner Circle taking on the Best Friends, plus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus in an 8-man tag.
Yeah, again, like we've talked about from week to week, I like what I see with Jungle Boy. I'm just I feel like there could be something more there with Luchasaurus. And he's not a real dinosaur, and
that's what they keep telling us.
Yeah, and so I mean, here's the thing. Last week with the returning Sammy Guevara, I'm looking forward to seeing more of him in action. I mean, we've got the full, we've got the band back together. So looking forward to seeing them featured here. And you know what? This might be my Luchasaurus solution right here. How out of nowhere would it be if Luchasaurus turned and became the next member of the Inner Circle? Nobody would see that coming, would they?
Where if he just went after Jungle Boy, but I don't think that'll happen. I mean, dude, you don't see it. This dude looks out for Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt. Those are those are his children.
I'm just I'm trying to come up with the Luchasaurus solution.
And that's a podcast for another day. Let's talk NXT. Another triple threat. Finn Balor, Dexter Lumis, and Timothy Thatcher are going to battle for a North American title opportunity. A triple threat again this week.
Here's the thing. I think this is a great time to have a vacated title because things are a little bit different, in case you haven't noticed. And having matches each week that means something, I think it's huge right now.
I feel like you're Ruben. I mean, I feel like you're not Matthew. You're Ruben talking to us from Sonoma.
That would be wine country, right?
USA, yes.
USA. And having matches that mean something now is more important than ever. You can't have, your two hot stars out there milking the crowd for the reaction and this, that, and the other. You've got to give us a story. You've got to give us some type of path. And with having that vacated title, the vacated North American title now, I think you've got those matches week to week. That means something. The first triple threat that we got in this tournament last week, I thought was absolutely amazing. Came close to being the match of the night amongst both shows, if it was not in fact. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this one as well too. It's a good group of guys there, and I'm calling Dexter Lumis. I think he gets the nod here.
Absolutely. I think this is made for Dexter Lumis right here. Keith Lee will respond to Karrion Kross's heinous actions this week on NXT.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what granted, most likely this is going to take place at TakeOver. I'm curious as to where they go. I mean, Keith Lee's your new champion. It's hard to imagine he would have a really quick title run, but Kross is strong, and what this reminds me a little bit of, it reminds me a little bit of the Brian Cage situation. Whereas, you've got your relatively new champion, Moxley, not quite as new as Keith Lee, but you've got somebody that has just been booked as this, dominating person that has not lost. And you push them immediately to the main event picture, but you run the risk of losing so much if you do not go ahead and pull the trigger. And so I'm curious as to how this plays out. We've got another 4 weeks, I believe, between
a lot of emotion in this already, especially the way that he beat up his friend right in front of him. And again, because I've been challenged to pronounce his name correctly, it's Dominik Dijakovic.
Oh, you did pretty good there.
Go ahead and ask his parents. I'm pretty sure I did it correctly. Johnny Gargano and Roderick Strong take their issue to the ring. That's cool. Cool story, bro. But I want to talk more so about Shotzi Blackheart battling the Robert Stone brand's Mercedes Martinez. Mercedes Martinez is going to fight Robert Stone's battles for him against Shotzi Blackheart and that tank.
Well, I hope she does, man. How's this guy supposed to fight any battles? He's been run over by a tank twice. How many times have you been run over by a tank?
In real life, none.
How great is it too to see Robert Stone pick up another acquisition? You know,
that's a win for Robert Stone, is what it is, because he hasn't been getting wins.
That's becoming a stable right there.
Well, if you were to ask Bobby Heenan if he were still around, he didn't like stables because it's not a bunch of horses; it's a family. The Robert Stone brand.
And again, Robert Stone week to week, just one of, if not the most entertaining people popping off of your NXT screen.
We need to put Robbie E back together with what is DJ Zima's name now in NXT? He's part of the,
that's right. That's right.
Oh, God, I know he can't do it now because he's this whole new character. He's got this whole new persona, and that's great. He looks good. But, man, just hit me with one of those real quick right in front of Robbie. Excuse me, I almost said Robbie E. Robert Stone. I would lose it.
Oh, yeah. That would be fantastic. Almost as good as a 3MB reunion.
Oh, 3MB reunion obviously can't happen right now because, Heathy Baby shot over to Impact and, still out on injury is Jinder Mahal. They're definitely trying to hinder Jinder Mahal.
It would seem so.
Well, that's AEW and that's NXT. We got a big night of wrestling action coming up tonight. Matthew, anything else before we let you go?
No, I'm just, how cool is it that we've got the Wednesday Night War now? I mean, this, without a doubt in my mind, this is what I look forward to each week in the professional wrestling week of all the hours of content. I mean, this to me has become my Monday night now.
Yeah, because Monday nights we have to watch 3 hours of Raw, and it is painful. Painful. Well, not painful is talking to Matthew Thomas twice a week. So for Matthew Thomas, I'm the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. # so long, everyone.